ready for the grand finale? Are you ready for Hockenheimring? As we just saw, it's going to be the most exciting finale in the DTM history because it's super tight. We've got 5 rivals, but all in all, mathematically speaking, it's possible for 10 different drivers to snatch the title. But obviously, this man right here, Kelvin Van Der Linder, is going to be giving it his all because he is leading the championship with 130 points. And obviously, every single point here counts because it's all about the grand finale here at the Hockenheimring, and we're super psyched to get qualifying. So hold on tight, and here's your commentator. Enjoy.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hockenheim as the cars burst into life and head towards the end of the pit lane for what is going to be the most important 20 minutes of the season so far. And each and every session this weekend is going to get more important than the one before. Chris Hartley here, trackside, to talk you through qualifying 1 here at this season finale event. As Verena said, we've got the top 5 covered by just 16 points in the championship. There are 58 points still up for grabs. And there's a man who's been there, done it, and brought the T-shirt several times. René Rast, a 3-time champion. 2 of his titles have been won in the very final race of the season here at Hockenheim. So this is not new territory for him, but it is for his rivals, because Lucas Sauer, Kelvin Van Der Linder, the championship leader, Thomas Preining and Mirko Bortolotti, his nearest rivals, are all looking for their first DTM championship title. We've got onboard cameras, multiple onboards on all of the championship contenders this weekend. They can see the top 4. We've also got cameras on Mirko Bortolotti's Lamborghini as Mirko seeks out what would be, if he can do it, his first race victory of the season, and a first for Lamborghini in the DTM. And what a time it would be to get that first victory. He was pretty impressive yesterday in the free practice sessions. All of the championship contenders were up there. Lucas Sauer will be hopeful of a good result here. As a winner here last year. He got onto the front row of the grid in qualifying on both sessions in 2021. He's with the same car, with the same team, knows the circuit well, and Lucas is having his best season so far in the DTM after what was already his best season in his career last year when he finished 5th in the championship. He is going to be one to watch. He's definitely a driver that's going to go for it, as I would suggest they all are. But that's the driver they're all trying to beat, and things haven't gone quite according to plan of late. Red Bull Ring was a bit of a nightmare for Kelvin Van Der Linder 2 weeks ago. We failed to score any championship points. However, he has come here as the championship leader. He has got a head start on everybody else, and he's in good form this weekend. So Team Radio checks, and they'll be keen to get out there. The weather looks set to be dry and fair throughout the course of the weekend. Track temperature is pretty warm for the time of day and time of year at 14.5 degrees. The air temperature is just a fraction above that at 14.6 degrees. We got up to about 19 degrees yesterday afternoon, so it's pretty warm weather for the time of year, and so the weather won't make this, I don't think, anything of a lottery this weekend. That's the driver on form then. Thomas Preining, over the last 4 races, has amassed 67 championship points, more than anybody else. The next best of the championship rivals in terms of points scored over the last 4 races is René Rast with 37, so he scored 30 more points than his nearest rival. And Kelvin Van Der Linder, the championship leader, has only yet scored 20 points over the last 4 races. So Van Der Linder leads on 130 points. He's 11 clear of Lucas Sauer on 119, 12 clear of René Rast on 118, 14 clear of Thomas Preining on 116, and 16 clear of Mirko Bortolotti on 114. Don't rule out Lucas Stolz either in 6th place on 102 points. He's 28 points adrift. He would need a great weekend, and for others ahead of him also have a bit of a problem here and there, but he was really quick yesterday and set the fastest time across the 2 free practice sessions. Remember, we've also got 3 championship points up for grabs in this next qualifying session. 3 for pole, 2 for qualifying second, and a point for qualifying in 3rd place. So yesterday in free practice 1, Kelvin Van Der Linder, who got double pole position here last year, was quickest in the first session in the early afternoon with a 1 minute 37.652. Thomas Preining was second, Mirko Bortolotti was third, slightly quicker second free practice session in terms of the fastest overall time, with Lucas Stolz in the HRT Mercedes setting a time of 1 minute 37.374. He was 3 tenths quicker than anybody else. Lucas Auer was second. Mirko Bortolotti was there in third place. The championship leader, Kelvin Van Der Linder, had a better second free practice session, qualifying in fifth place overall. So there you can see the championship graphic. There are still mathematically 10 drivers that could take the title, although potentially the driver in 10th place, Maxi Götz, who is 56 behind with only 58 still available, could get knocked out of the running as early as the end of this qualifying session, depending on who finishes in the top three and where he finishes. But he wasn't particularly up the order yesterday during either free practice session, the reigning champion. So we're here at Hockenheim, which is this weekend for the 29th time hosting the DTM season finale. We're going to have the 100th DTM race here at Hockenheim as well this weekend. It's 4.574 kilometres long. It's got a bit of everything. The stadium section in front of busy grandstands. You've got the fast right-handers at turn 1, the Nordkurve, and turn 2 as well, where you've got to be ultra careful not to exceed track limits, which a lot of them were doing yesterday at turn 1. If you do that in qualifying, you're going to lose the lap on which you are deemed to have exceeded the track limit. So it's tempting to do so, because all that runoff area there to the left. You've got the ultra-quick Parabolica section early on as well. As you come out of turn 4, it's flat out through the Parabolica. Big sweeping left-hander at turn 5, which they take in 6th gear. And they get up to about 265 kilometres an hour through there before jamming on the brakes with 120 metres to go and slowing the cars from 265 kilometres an hour in a matter of seconds down to just about 47 kilometres an hour in a first gear hairpin, which is where a lot of the action is likely to take place this weekend. The Spitzkehrer hairpin, as you brake deep into the corner. You can have a go on the inside. There is the hairpin, but it's the run out of the corner which is almost more important as you go up towards the flat out right-hander at turn 7. If you can just creep up the inside there, coming out of the hairpin, you can make a move and get through before that next sequence of corners at turn 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Big weekend for the teams as well. For Schubert Motorsport, who run Kelvin Van Der Linder, they're looking for the driver's title. They're also looking for the team's championship title in their first ever season of DTM. They're 43 points clear of the Abt Sportsline team, who have got all of their experience with their multiple drivers championships and teams championships. They've been involved in the championship since it was reformed in 2000, every season since. 73 wins as a team since then, and they started out as privateers with 3 yellow Audi TTs and qualified at the back of the grid. 2 years later they won their first ever DTM title with Laurent Aiello, and they've grown ever since. So René Rast is wearing a special helmet design this year because he parts company with Audi at the end of some terrific years, a near decade racing with the team, and already looking for his record-equaling 4th championship title in the series to match the great Bernd Schneider. Bernd Schneider, who got 4 DTM titles and an ITR title. But if you can get 4 titles, having only been in the championship for 6 years, that would be absolutely incredible. So, Lucas Auer on an early run here. A 22.05 is not bad, but a 21.16 from René Rast is really on the money. A 21.2 yesterday was the best first sector time we saw. Remember, though, they've got fresher tyres on. They're in lighter trim, less fuel on board, so they're going to be a lot quicker than yesterday. We should be getting down, I would have thought, into the 1 minute 36s because the conditions are pretty perfect here. So we'll see how they go. The middle sector is the longest sector. The lap divided into 3 so we can see the progress of the drivers. So sector 1 takes in the Nordkurve at turn 1, turn 2, and then the run out of turn 2, which is 3 and 4, which is that little right-hand, left-hand flick heading out towards the Parabolicas. That's sector 1, which is fairly short. Sector 2 takes in all the Parabolica. It takes in the hairpin at the Spitzkehrer. It takes in turn 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. That run through that sequence of right and left-handers. And that's the longest sector. It's about half the lap in terms of time. In sector 3 takes in the stadium section, ending in the Sudkurve at the end of the lap. So still waiting for competitive times, but Tommy Preining is about to set the first of them, I think, with an absolute best middle sector, 44.96. This is looking good. René Rast goes to the top of the times briefly, but Thomas Preining, 1 minute 36.922. Philip Enger's got a low 1 minute 37 as well. And Kelvin Van Der Linder, likewise, a 1:37.061. But Mirko Bortolotti has put the absolute best first sector in so far. He looked really quick yesterday. He's been a double winner here in the ADAC GT Masters Championship alongside Rolf Ineichen in 2020. And Kelvin Van Der Linder, who was quickest in free practice one yesterday, is even quicker by 100th of a second, 21.06 through that first sector. Arjun Maini for now goes second, just sneaks ahead of Sheldon Van Der Linder. It's Priding Maini, Sheldon Van Der Linder and Cassidy as the top four, but things are going to change with each and every lap over the next few minutes. Keep an eye on the times of Bortolotti and Kelvin Van Der Linder. Bortolotti 45.29, not quite as quick as Tommy Priding through that middle sector. What can Kelvin Van Der Linder do? He's behind him on the road by about 15 seconds or so. It's Bortolotti that will get home first of those front runners. Maro Engel, for the time being, goes quickest, 1:36.651 seconds. Marco Wittmann, who was quick in free practice yesterday, has gone second for now. Both of them ahead of Thomas Priding. Mirko Bortolotti comes out of the last corner, uses all of the road, accelerates from third to fourth gear, goes through, goes second, 1:36.67 seconds. Kelvin Van Der Linder is the next one to watch out for. Here he comes all the way through the third gear, right-hander at the sud curve. He uses all of the track, goes onto the curbs, accelerates towards the line. Is he going to be up there with this lap? Not quite, but not bad. Fourth place for Kelvin. But look at Tommy Priding. It was 300ths down on Kelvin in the first sector, but he's 3/10, nearly 4/10 up on him in the second sector. Lost out in the last sector, though, which is why he's only ended up in fifth place. So Engel, Bortolotti, Auer, the top three. Lucas Auer with the 1:36 as well. And we've already got 9 cars that have broken the 1:37 barrier. Nobody did that at all yesterday, with the 1:37.3 being the quickest time that we had. Nico Müller said he was struggling with the car a bit yesterday, but they look like they've done some miracles with the setup, because that's a really good first sector at 21.12. Not as good as Kelvin Van Der Linder, though. He's got a 21.04. So Kelvin, a 10th up on Müller, a 10th up on Rast. Mario Suggs had a pretty good first sector as well. Lucas Stoltz, he's on for a tidy lap. It's not going to put him right at the head of the field, but it's definitely going to put him in the top 10, I would have thought, if he could just hold it together. Wait for him to come through. In the bright yellow Mercedes, goes past the commentary box window over the line, and he goes 6th quickest. So 6th for Lucas Stoltz. Maro Engel, though, who got his first ever pole position in DTM in totally different conditions, thoroughly wet conditions at the Red Bull Ring 2 weeks ago, is still the driver with provisional pole position. He's gone into the pits. He's got a 1:36.651. Kelvin has lost out again in the middle sector, but he's really quick through the first sector. Again, it's not quite going to challenge, but it's going to be there or thereabouts for Kelvin Van Der Linder, who's still currently in 4th place. Here he comes in the black and white AB Sportsline Audi, but he's going to bail for the pit, so he won't complete the lap. Bortolotti has gone in as well. So Engel, Bortolotti, Kelvin Van Der Linder and Philipp Eng all in. Eng has not really put a lap time in. He's crossed the line, but he only did a 1:49, and Dennis Olsen hasn't yet really put a proper lap in either, with a 1:48. Nico Müller still on it. Will he stay out? Where is he at the moment? Middle of the lap, about a minute from home, and he's 10th at the moment. Sheldon Van Der Linder, the championship leader, has come into the pits right in front of the commentary box. He's running 9th at the moment, teasingly, just behind Rene Rast, his big rival, one of them, for the championship. Just 0.03 of a second between Rast and Van Der Linder, who are 8th and 9th, but they're both behind the driver second in the championship as it stands, Lucas Auer. If it stayed like this, of course, Lucas would score a point for qualifying third. Bortolotti would score 2 points for qualifying in second place, and that would put Lucas Auer just 10 points behind Sheldon Van Der Linder. Long way to go in the session yet, though. Not yet half distance. 10 minutes 20 seconds remain on the clock. Thomas Priding will be pretty pleased with the way things are going in the Koos Team Bernhard Porsche, with 5th place so far. So Engel fastest by 26,000ths of a second. It's been so close this year in qualifying that would, by my reckoning, only be the 4th closest gap of the year so far. 10,000ths of a second between the two Van Der Linders at the Nürburgring was the closest gap we had. And then you've got 94,000ths of a second adrift, which is just under a 10th of a second. Lucas Auer in 3rd place. Kelvin Van Der Linder in 4th place is a 10th off. He's only 3,000ths quicker than Thomas Priding in 5th. 6th is Lucas Stoltz. 7th is Marco Wittmann. Marco's only 3,000ths of a second behind Lucas Stoltz. Rene Rast and Sheldon Van Der Linder, 8th and 9th. Again, they're separated by just 3,000ths of a second. Nico Müller is 10th, and a really good qualifying. Could be on for his best qualifying of the year so far. Rolf Ineichen, who knows this circuit well, as I said, it's been a double winner here in the GT Masters Championship with the Grasser Racing team, Gottfried Grasser's team, the Austrian outfit, alongside Mirko Bortolotti. So knows the track well, and he's 11th at the moment, and he's only 2,000ths of a second away from being in the top 10. So they're the current championship standings. But if it stayed like this, you could add a point to Lucas Auer's score to put him on 120, and you could add 2 to Mirko Bortolotti's car. to put him on the level with Thomas Priding, although Thomas has got more wins, 2 of them, to Mirko's 0 at the moment, so it'll still be Thomas in 4th place in the championship. Yesterday in free practice, the teams were really focusing on the pit stop practices as well, because that's going to be huge when we get to the race this afternoon. As ever, 2 55 minutes plus 1 lap races.
So we will leave in 1 minute.
So it's going to be a quick turnaround. We're leaving 1 minute is the team radio. And we get for René Rast. These points amassed in the qualifying sessions have been huge as well. Kelvin Van Der Linder has scored 10 points, but René Rast has scored 11 points from qualifying. We get 12 points for a 4th place finish. So you can see how they add up. René has been, on average, the best qualifier.
So, okay, we will set it to make 4 laps if it's needed, okay? So, approximately 1 minute now to go.
Okay.
Cool as ever. Tommy Priding gets the message, nods and says, copy, you got 1 minute to go, and we're going to try and give you 4 laps if you need it. So we're looking at 2, possibly 3 push laps on these tyres. Kelvin Van Der Linder, the championship leader, heads back out. Had a quick chat with him at the end of the day yesterday, and he seemed in relaxed mode, which is good to see, positive, and had a smile on his face. He said, if you've still got a voice at the end of the weekend, we haven't done our job. I think we're going to be in for a tense weekend, he said, but he was all very relaxed about it. So out he goes. Sheldon in 9th place at the moment, but behind Bortolotti and Auer and Rast, of course, and Priding. But he's in the mix in 9th place. 0.3 of a second covering, as it stands, the top 10. And you've only got 0.9 of a second covering the top 22 drivers. I suspect there's more to come from the likes of Dennis Olsen and Philippe Eng as well further down the order. They might charge up a little bit. What about the Ferraris as well? Felipe Ferrari gets back in 21st place. Nick Cassidy is in 13th. So René Rast has been the best qualifier on average this year. He's got 3 poles. He's averaged 7th on the grid. And Kelvin Van Der Linder has averaged 8th on the grid, as has Lucas Auer. We've had 10 different pole sitters this year, 10 different winners, and 16 different drivers on the podium. All they head out now on towards the circuit with 6.5 minutes to go. By the time they get back around, though, to start what's going to be the first push lap, it'll be about 5 minutes to go. And when they can really get up to speed on the lap after that, you're only looking at 3.5 or 4 minutes left on the clock. Getting track position is going to be crucial. You don't want to get held up by one car in one corner for one moment in this session, because every millisecond is going to count in qualifying. A huge 6 minutes coming up then in the context of what has been a fascinating DTM 2022 championship. You're right on board with the man in front, the championship leader, 5th in the points in his breakthrough season a couple of years ago in 2020, where he got his first win at Assen. This year he has looked the real deal after a really frustrating year with the car last year. Switches teams, stays of course with BMW, and a big announcement last night as well that Kelvin Van Der Linder and the 2-time champion Marco Wittmann are going to be racing the new V8 prototype for BMW, the M V8, which is going to be the LMDH car that they'll run at the start of the year at Daytona. They'll race it at Sebring as well. So moving up into GTP class racing as part of his programme for, I'm sure, what will be another busy 2022 season for Kelvin Van Der Linder. So the South African building up speed in the tyres, but trying to look after them at the same time, not heat them up too quickly, not grain them, get some heat in the brakes, get his eye in, coming into the stadium section, on the way into the Sachs curve. I'll take this in 2nd gear. It's a slightly banked turn as they go through the Sachs curve. When they get to the Sud curve at the end of the lap, they'll fly through there in 3rd gear, and then he'll accelerate out onto the straight. The moment is just coming up to the Mobile 1 curve, which you have to take when you're flat out. Tight on the inside, careful not to run wide there, look, because of the gravel trap. And then into the Sachs curve, you will come into this slightly banked corner. You can see there's a specific line to take through here. It rises up towards the outside of the circuit. You've got this little left-right flick, quite bouncy through here. The cars move around a lot when they're at speed. And then 3rd gear and accelerate. It's going to be on the next lap that he'll really go for it. Still holding back on the throttle here. everybody out on track. Nico Muller, the last of the drivers to join the circuit, so will he be the last to cross the line? Past the commentary box window goes the familiar yellow and red of the Schubert Motorsport BMW of Kelvin Van Der Linder. Schubert leading the team's championship by 43 points, and also just 1 point between Mercedes and Audi in the manufacturers' championship standings as well. After Mercedes overtook Audi, we've had a long-term lead in the championship, so 1 single point between them. That is going to go down to the wire as well. If Team Schnitzer win the team's championship, they'll be the first BMW team to do so since 2014, since Team RMG and Marco Wittmann won the title together. Mercedes are looking for their 16th DTM Manufacturers Championship. Audi are looking for their 9th. It's only one of those two that can win it now. So Van Der Linder, although he held back to give himself space, took a slow run up towards that final couple of turns. He's had a really, really good first sector, 21.02, but don't get too excited yet because it's a short sector. It's the middle sector that is key. He wants to be getting down into the 44s through there if he can, or at least a very low 45. He's done it. He's done a 44.93, so he's now definitely on for a really good lap here. Currently sitting in 9th place, but then he's putting potentially right up into the top 3, and if he nails the final sequence of corners, he might just have a chance at the front row of the grid here. 1:36.651 is the time he's trying to beat. 1:36.677 if he wants to get past Bortolotti and onto the front row of the grid. Marco Wittmann has just set an absolute best first sector as well. In another of the BMWs, here comes Kelvin Van Der Linder across the line. He goes 3rd quickest. So 1:36.708, he just sneaks ahead of Lucas Auer, and he's right in between two of his championship rivals, Bortolotti and Auer, and just fractions of a second between them. René Rast goes 7th. Marco Wittmann is on a really good lap here as well, which is likely going to put him maybe onto the front row of the grid. He's on course for the front row at the moment, at least 3rd place. So can he be one of the cats amongst the pigeons here? He's only had 1 podium finish early on in the season, but you never rule Marco Wittmann out of anything. He's a phenomenal driver there ahead of his Lucas Stoltz, who's had a pretty good second sector, really good first sector. This could be an improvement for him as well. The Mercedes goes over the line. It really is a good final sector to go top of the times. Marco Wittmann goes 2nd, and suddenly it's all changed. Stoltz, Wittmann, Engel the top 3. Lucas Auer goes quickest of all though with a 1:36.479. And we've got 1 minute and 24 seconds to go. But look at René Rast. He's on it as well. 21.05 through the first sector. Kelvin Van Der Linder, pretty decent first sector as well. Not quite his personal best, but not far away. And another good second sector. Sub 45 for Sheldon, who's just ahead of his brother at the moment. They're 6th and 7th, intriguingly. Both ahead of Preining, both ahead of Rast. Mirko Bortolotti, the first driver to go sub 21 in the first sector, a 20.98. For the Lamborghini driver, the former Blancpain champion, is going for it here. He's currently down to 5th place as we look at René Rast. Lucas Auer with another good first sector as well. It's not as good as Bortolotti. It's not quite as good as Rast, but it is a decent one. He doesn't need to improve, or maybe he does. He's on provisional pole, but Bortolotti might be about to go quicker. Kelvin Van Der Linder remains in 6th place, but gets another lap out of this to try and improve. What about Bortolotti? Waiting for him to come through. He's about 20 seconds away from the line, so just coming through the stadium section. He comes out of the Sachs curve. I can see him heading towards the final turn in the Lamborghini at Sudkurve. Here he comes, number 63, on his way out of the final turn. Could this be pole position for Mirko Bortolotti? Has he done enough in the final sector? He pushes it right to the edge of the circuit, kicks up the dust, heads for the line, goes through, doesn't do it. He goes 3rd quickest though. It's an improvement, and he's got 1 more lap. Crosses the line with 5 seconds to go. Wow, what a session. Lucas Auer, Lucas Stoltz, Mirko Bortolotti, the top 3. Marco Wittmann 4th. Maro Engel, who was on provisional pole, is down now into 5th place. Marco Wittmann, Stoltz and Auer have all come into the pits. Flag is out now, so they won't make any more improvements. There are a couple out there that are still potentially going to have a charge here if the tyres hold up. Nico Muller's had a really good first sector, 21.11. Rast has dropped time, 21.16. So too Thomas Preining is down to 8th place at the moment. Kelvin Van Der Linder isn't going to improve here. He's about 3 or 4 tenths of a second down on his own best lap time, so it's going to be 6th place at best for him. Nico Muller At the moment, he's 10th. He's the one who's managed to improve through the first sector in the number 51 Team Rosberg Audi. I'm not sure it's quite going to be for the front row of the grid, this, but it could be in amongst the championship contenders. He does lose a bit of time, though, with that traffic in the middle sector, a 45.29, so he's lost about 0.3 of a second here. At the moment, his best lap time is 0.4 down, so he needs a phenomenal final sector if he's going to improve and get up into the top 6 with this. The two-time championship runner-up makes his way through the final turn, stays out, gets on the gas, squeezes all the energy out of the tyres, heads for the line in the Audi. Where is this going to put him? Will it be an improvement? No, he stays in 10th place, so he goes through in 10th position, and it looks like that might just be it, with Lucas Auer seemingly on pole position, and with a brilliant time of 1 minute 36.479 seconds, 61 thousandths of a second clear. The driver, second in the championship, was 11 points behind. He's now 8 points behind because he scored 3 points for qualifying on pole position. Replay of Bortolotti. Maybe this is just where he lost that 10th of a second. In the end, he was 0.148 seconds away from pole position, and he was only 87 thousandths of a second away from being on the front row of the grid. Just pushed it a bit wide, a bit heavy on the gas coming out of the final corner. So Lucas Auer, what a time to put it on pole position and get what is his 12th career pole position in the DTM. Lucas Stoltz looked great yesterday, looks great today. He is still very much in championship contention here. 6th in the points, 28 adrift, nothing to lose really for Luca. They've both been race winners this year. They both had one victory in DTM. And Mirko Bortolotti is on the money as well. He might rue that last corner, but he'll be pretty pleased with 3rd place. Marco Wittmann, who's had a tough year, great to see him back up there, 4th quickest. Maro Engel 5th in the end, another good qualifying for Maro. And then Kelvin Van Der Linder, I think, will be fairly pleased, not delighted, but fairly pleased with 6th place. He's in the mix, he survived, but his lead has been cut at the top of the championship table by another 3 points. We're down to single figures. Lucas Auer, Lucas Stoltz, Mirko Bortolotti, the top 3, Marco Wittmann 4th, Maro Engel 5th, Kelvin Van Der Linder, Kelvin Van Der Linder 6th and 7th, Thomas Preining in 8th, René Rast is in 9th place, and Nico Muller in 10th place. So we've got all of the key championship contenders, all of the top 5 up there in the top 10, which is a neutral, is what you want to see. You want to see them all up there battling when we get to the race later on today. Clement Schmidt with a good qualifying in 11th, Maxi Buch in 12th, Philip Eng, who didn't put a lap time in until the second half of the session, ends up 13th, Miney 14th, Rolf Inaischen in 15th place, and David Schumacher, Nick Cassidy, surprisingly down in 17th place, Dev Gore, Felipe Fraga in the other Ferrari, and Dennis Olsen. A few surprise names there towards the tail end of the top 20. Christian Engelhardt, who's stepped in at the last minute for Lawrence Vantour in the SSR Performance Porsche, qualifying in 21st place. And a thoughtful Lucas Auer there. A smile in the eyes. Might I be on the verge of something special here? It's almost like he can't quite believe it. But believe it, you are in the mix, Lucas Auer. 5th in the championship last year. He adapted so well in the second half of last season to these types of cars. And a big smile for him, and also a pretty happy Mirko Bortolotti, who is as cool as you like in this championship fight as well. Yes, it's his first season in DTM, but he's won and fought for titles before in other GT categories. So there are your top 3, all of them in the top 6 in the championship. Mirko Bortolotti gets himself to within 15 points now of the championship lead, with that extra point for qualifying in 3rd place as well. They're all smiles, but there's a job still to be done here, with 55 minutes plus 1 lap of racing to come later on today. Whatever happens, the title can't be decided until tomorrow, so this season is absolutely going to go right down to the wire, and we're in for a stunning fight here at Hockenheim. So the drivers pose for the cameras. We'll hear from them shortly. And there is the revised points. Kelvin Van Der Linder, 8 points clear, but he is still at the top of the table. Lucas Auer catches up. He's second. René Rast stays on 118. Thomas Preining on 116. And 1 more point for Mirko Bortolotti means you've now just got 15 points, with 55 still available, between the top 5 in the championship table, with Lucas Stoltz still in the mix there in 6th. Right, let's get some reaction down in the pit lane with Verena.
So I'm here with the man who's starting in P3 in the race. That's Mirko Bortolotti. Mirko, I mean, this is such an exciting finale. You picked up a point, so you're 15 points behind the leader of the championship. And at this point, I mean, it really is possible. Anything is possible. So how exciting is this?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that we are in the second row of the grid rather than the points, because the big points have been given in the race, as we know. But it's definitely good to score a little point once again. We always go little steps and on a consistent basis. So yeah, it's good to score a point, but the starting position is better.
You're fifth in the championship, and mathematically speaking, it's still possible for quite a few to get the title. But at this point, I mean, it's the finale, only 2 more races to go. And how tough do you think will it be? I mean, you guys are all going to fight for your best.
As usual, it's been since race 1 at Portimao, it's been like that. That's DTM 2022, and we are used to that now. So it's great to be in the fight. It's great to be in the position we are. It means we had a good season. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the fight. So yeah, we are looking forward to the race. I think we did a good job yesterday, and let's see what we can get today. Of course, we have 2 guys ahead of us that are fighting as well. Ideally, we need to try to get ahead of them. But yeah, let's see.
All right, Mirko. Well, best of luck. Thank you so much. And we're going to try to grab Lukas Auer, because he's there, all chill, just having a little chat. So, Luki, woo, you're making the finale so much more exciting. You're picking up the points. So now it's only 8 points between you and Sheldon, who's leading the championship. You look all cool and calm, being in pole position, obviously. So how excited are you for the race?
Oh, the pressure is on, obviously, but the car was great, set up really good. So huge thanks to the team. And now we're starting in the best position, but a race is long and a lot of things can happen.
And now Hockenheimring, I mean, it's a track you love, I think, but how tough do you think it really will be? And I mean, you've got a rival right behind you. I mean, Mirko is in P3, so what are you expecting for the race?
Tough fight, long race, and strategy pit stop will be important, of course. But I still believe we have a great car and we can fight from there. Great car, great driver. Best of luck for the race. Thank you so much. Here's your commentator.
Yeah, he's not bad, is he? Lukas Auer then with his second pole of the year. And you heard from Mirko Bortolotti as well. He's got his 5th front row start of the season, starting in 3rd place, his 5th top 3 of the year. He starts in 3rd place then with a 1:36.27 second lap. Just missed out coming out of the final corner. Lukas Stoltz, still in with the championship fight, is 2nd. But Lukas Auer, the driver they're all trying to beat. 55 points still available. Maxi Götz drops out of the title fight now. He's 56 behind, so 9 drivers mathematically could still win it. Lukas Auer is going to start the race on pole position this afternoon. Don't miss it from me, Chris Hart, in the commentary box. That's it for now. Let's head back down into the pit lane to Verena.
So once again, this qualifying showed how exciting it's going to be, and we're super thrilled for the race later on. Only 2 more races in the DTM season 2021. At the end, it's going to be who is going to be the #1 in the race. We will find out in just a bit. So see you later for the race. Don't want to miss it, that's for sure.